Sergeant Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Oh, man, it got quiet very quickly today. All right, everyone must be busy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President?
All right, Senators, on this Thursday, March 27th, we are very pleased to have Reverend J.C. Cadwallader Welsh from the Warner Memorial Presbyterian Church in Kensington, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from the 18th District. Please rise for the invocation.
I bring you greetings from the Warner Memorial Presbyterian Church, and thank you for the invitation, Senator Waldstreicher, to be here. Please join your hearts with mine as we prepare for the day together. Startle us, O God. Startle us with your love, with your mercy, and with your hope. Gathered here, we come with common purpose to address the needs of the state of Maryland, to pray that as the needs of the people are considered among the needs of the land and the water and the animals therein, we pray that you will startle us. Startle us with the spirit of wisdom, with the spirit of gentleness, with the spirit of humility. When we think we already know what we're going to say or how we're going to vote, startle us with the spirit of forbearance, that pride and selfish motivation may be removed from among us, that we may be open to the spirit of friendship, the spirit of kindness, the spirit of justice among all of us. Startle us, O God, and open us again to the mystery that is your presence. In this session, soften our hearts, unfurrow our brows, and while we sense the weight of responsibility upon our shoulders, help us to see that the weight is indeed yoked upon our colleague too. Focus our minds to the task at hand, and as you do, draw our awareness back into the redemptive and restorative work of creativity, partnership, fairness, and joy. Be with us as we endeavor to serve others. Startle us, O God, and may goodness flourish all around. Amen.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. That was great. Recognized senator from the 18th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reverend Cadwallader is doing amazing work in my legislative district and throughout Montgomery County and Kensington, Maryland. The Reverend has extensive experience in roles in Chicago and Washington, D.C., and is quite passionate about social justice and innovative learning. I appreciate the invocation, and I move that the Reverend's remarks be journalized this morning.
Without objection, most certainly we will journalize the wonderful invocation, and appreciate the thoughtful words to start our day. Thank you so much. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 42 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is again back in session. I don't believe we have any resolutions today, but we do have some introductions. Recognize the senator from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a very, very proud legacy in Prince George's County when we talk about a lot of our athletes. So today I want to rise today and recognize an exceptional athlete, a dedicated leader, and a proud son of Maryland, Chase Young. He's here this morning with us. Born and raised in Upper Marlboro, right in the heart of Prince George's County, Chase has been a source of pride for our community long before he became a household name in football. From his early days playing youth sports in Prince George's County to dominating the field at DeMatha Catholic High School, Chase's talent and determination were evident to all who watched him. He carried the same drive to the Ohio State University, where he became one of the most feared defensive players in this country, earning the highest honors in college football and becoming a finalist of the Heisman Trophy. In 2020, Chase was selected second overall in the NFL draft by the Washington Commanders and made an immediate impact, winning NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. But what truly sets Chase apart is not just his ability on the field, it's his character, it's his leadership, and it's his commitment to giving back to the community that shaped him. He remains a role model for young athletes in the county and District 25 and beyond, proving that hard work, discipline, and perseverance can lead to greatness. It is my honor to welcome Chase Young to the Senate chamber today as we recognize not just his incredible career, but his lasting impact in our state and the next generation of students and athletes. We could not be prouder to call him one of our own, and joining him today on the floor is his father and his mother. Please, let's give this NFL star, one of Prince George's County and Maryland's own, Chase Young, a warm Maryland Senate welcome.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. It's always nice to celebrate excellence, and also thank you, Mom and Dad, because you all did clearly great work too. So we appreciate you all for your excellent work. Thank you. Well done. Yes, thank you. All right. Yes, Senator from Charles County.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Colleague, today I rise to honor with pride and excitement a wonderful, outstanding group of young women, the North Point High School basketball team, our Maryland 4A state champions. They're in the gallery. Please stand behind you, Mr. President. Sorry, you can't see them. Okay. I'd like to recognize Coach Michael A. Serpone II, Captains Carson Burwell, Kaylin Rapp, Maya Gant, and Trinity Howard. This championship represents more than just a season of wins. It reflects the incredible discipline, resilience, and heart these student athletes brought to every practice, every game, and every challenge. Under the leadership of their dedicated coaches, they have grown and shown us what teamwork and perseverance can accomplish. These young women have made history, not only for their school and our community in Charles County, but for the state of Maryland. They are role models both on and off the court, balancing academic excellence with athletic greatness. North Point High School is one of the top feeders to our University of Maryland system schools. So definitely in athletics and academics, doing great things. To the team, your grit, your passion, and your determination have inspired us all. You've proven that with hard work and unity, anything is possible. You've made Charles County and the rest of the state proud. Please join me in congratulating the North Point Eagles, our champions. I want to add also that North Point High School is a county-wide school. So our senator from District 27 to my left is also a representative. May I use the senator's name, Mr. President?
Senator may proceed.
Senator Jackson, Michael Jackson, Senator M. Jackson from Charles County also. So thank you, colleagues, and thank you, team.
Excellent. Welcome and congratulations. Congratulations. Senator from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to take a moment to introduce my intern for this session, Claire Garrettson. Claire's a senior at Washington College in Chestertown, Maryland, with majors in Communication and Media Studies and French. In addition to working for my office this year, Claire's remained active on her campus as president of her sorority, president of the Omicron Delta Kappa National Leadership Honor Society, and a peer mentor leader. She intends to work in strategic communications and public affairs in Washington, D.C. after graduation in May, and has a tremendous passion for women's health policy and healthcare legislation, which she's put to work during her internship with my office and with the Finance Committee. Claire's truly been an asset to the Finance Committee this year. Thank you, Claire.
Excellent. Welcome. Welcome. Additional introductions? Any other additional introductions? Yes, Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Recently, I got a text encouraging me to drive on the weekend up to Frederick Community College because there was going to be an awards ceremony for a songwriting contest called Chords of Courage. And middle school and high school students were writing songs about people who made a difference and whom they admired. And some of the topics included Ida B. Wells, the freedom riders during the civil rights movement, a woman who pulled a neighbor out of a burning car, and me, which I was quite surprised by. And it turns out that Roman Jackson learned about the work that I had been doing on 911, on Next Generation 911, in memory of the 3 people who have died in my district. and he wrote an amazing song called Seconds Save Lives. And the first verse was about Carl Henn, my friend who died in a freak thunderstorm when 911 was overloaded. And the second one about someone who died in a workplace in my district when they couldn't find him, and they found his dead body 10 hours after he called 911 thinking he was having a heart attack. And it was performed by a professional singer-songwriter, and the whole thing was so inspirational. And today, assuming we get to that calendar, we're going to be passing on third reader a bill that I've been working on for, I think, 7 years or 8 years or something, related to 911. And Roman Jackson and his dad Dylan from Frederick, from Urbana, are going to be here to witness that, and they're shadowing me all day. So please join me in welcoming this talented young student, middle school student, and his dad. Please join me in welcoming
Very
them
cool.
to the Senate.
Welcome. That's wonderful. Very neat. Wonderful. Welcome. Let's see. Additional introduction. Oh, yes, Senator from Prince George's.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like for the Clean Water Partnership to please stand.
Do we have clean water?
They're on.
Yes, they're up here.
I would like for you all to really take a look up here at this, on the balcony on the second floor. In March of 2015, Prince George's County, Maryland, entered into the first of its kind, innovative 30-year CBP3 agreement, referred to as the Clean Water Partnership. Over the past decade, their innovative public-private partnership with Prince George's County has served as a national model for stormwater management, economic opportunity, and environmental justice. In celebration with them, we would like to recognize their transformative impact, creating jobs, engaging small and minority businesses, and delivering scalable, cost-effective solutions for resilient communities. As they celebrate their 10th anniversary, the organization has completed nearly 650 million jobs in projects. Now, I want you all to know that the people that you see standing, many of them have come in from around the country to celebrate this 10th anniversary, and I'm very, very excited that it is focused in Prince George's County. And so I did, Mr. President and members, come up with an official citation, and it's in recognition of your innovative public-private partnership with Prince George's County, which serves as a national model for storm water management, economic opportunity, and environmental justice. The impact of this outstanding organization is felt throughout the county and even throughout the country. So I want to present this to this wonderful group of unselfish servants on this wonderful, wonderful day. And we want to thank you so much for every single thing that you are doing for not only Prince George's County, but what you're doing for the great state of Maryland. Continue to keep up the good work, and whatever we can do to help, we are definitely proud and happy to do it. Thank you so very, very much. Let's give them a round of applause.
Excellent. Thank you all for your wonderful work. Thanks for being here with us today. Senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we have the children from Ridge Elementary in St. Mary's County, if you all would stand up. Visiting us today, warm Senate welcome. Thank you for coming.
Wonderful. Very good. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming. I'm also joined, senators, in the gallery up to my right, your left, a number of 46 district leaders who have just used tireless energy in the community. They're just incredible, incredible folks who I am so thankful for of their work every single day to build the 46th district and make sure that our neighborhoods are strong. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Hope you enjoy your tour today and look forward to taking a picture with you all down on the floor later this afternoon. Thank you all. If we could give them a warm Senate welcome. Excellent. All right, let's see. Do we have any further introductions before we jump in? If not, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We've got a fair amount of stuff. We'll see how far we get today. Tomorrow will be a little bit longer. We've got the budget on the floor tomorrow, and we'll just kind of see where we are. But next week's going to be a doozy, so keep that calendar flexible. All right, let's start with new business with the message from the House. This is number 27. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 350, the Speaker, Budget Bill, Fiscal Year 2026, Rules. House Bill 352, the Speaker, Budget Reconciliation Financing Act of 2025, Rules.
All right. Recognizing the Chair of the Budget and Taxation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to suspend the rules, send it directly to the committee.
All right. The Senators move to suspend the rules. Yes. Recognizing the, nope. All right. That was going to be a fun one. All right.
Mr. President, I like to suspend whatever he wants to suspend.
Right. All right. So the Senators moved to suspend the rules to send the bill directly to committee. These are bills that have crossed over after the 80th day. Any objections? Without objection, the rules having been suspended, the bills be referred to the Budget and Tax Committee. All right. There it goes. Let's start out with layovers. This is layover calendar number 30. Clerk, read the bill.
House Bill 1465, Delegate Stewart, Transportation-Related Tolls, Installment Payment Plans. Question is the adoption of the amendment offered from the floor by Senator Sidnor.
All right. Question is on the floor amendment, recognizing the Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank the floor leader and MDTA for addressing my concerns.
Excellent. All right. Any further discussion on the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the one floor amendment is adopted. Are there question now is on the are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1465 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to layover calendar 31. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 292, Delegate Homes, Cooperative Housing Corporations, Condominiums, and Homeowners Association Funding of Reserve Accounts and Preparation of Funding Plans. Question is the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable report.
All right. Question before the body is on the one committee amendment. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Yes, I recognize the senator from the 42nd.
Yes, Mr. President, I've got another amendment to offer.
All right, let's take up the report if we can very
Sure,
briefly. Are there any discussion of the report? Any objections to the report? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment. This is long. All right, let's get it up on the board here. Nope. All right, there it goes. All right, Senator may explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unfortunately, my colleague from District 7 was taken ill after his committee dinner last night. This was going to be his amendment, but as he is indisposed, he's asked me if I would introduce the amendment, which I'm pleased to do. The bill relates to reserve studies, which have to be conducted by condominiums and co-ops, and in order, the need for reserve studies largely stems out of the collapse of the condo den in Florida a couple of years ago. And we want to make sure money is set aside so when vital systems of buildings need to be replaced, the money is there to replace them. So that's the whole idea of reserve studies. So right now, reserve specialists are supposed to come up with these reserve studies, and there is a concern that sometimes the reserve specialists come up with numbers which are inflated, which are too high. So what this bill suggests is that a governing body of a co-op or a condo can amend a reserve study or an updated reserve study to reflect a quote for a specific item from an appropriately licensed expert. And a couple of examples are given. A licensed master electrician should be able to provide an alternative quote for electrical services. A licensed contractor should be able to offer an alternative quote for roof repairs, etc. That's what this bill does. It says you don't have to take all the numbers in the reserve study if you can get other numbers from licensed, qualified experts that are lower than the numbers in the reserve study. I hope the amendment will be accepted as a friendly amendment.
All right, Senator moves the amendment. Let's hear from the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as the senator discussed, the people conducting the reserve studies don't necessarily have expertise in these individual slots for utilities and other repairs. So view this as a friendly amendment, non-offensive.
Excellent. All right. Committee views it as a friendly amendment. Any further discussion of the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 292 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, let's go to report number 26 out of Education, Energy, and the Environment. These are some Senate bills. Let's see where we are with these. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 76, Senator Bailey, title Fishing License, Oyster Authorizations, Administrative Penalties, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the Vice Chair of the Committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, after a long time of the good senator working on this issue, this is a really good compromise. It used to be that if there was a violation of the oyster poaching, that an oyster person would lose their license for forever, which would affect, obviously, their ability to support their family. But we also had to make sure that they knew that it was a serious violation, that oysters are important, and so there had to be a consequence. So as amended, this bill would make a 5-year suspension of their license for the first violation, and then a total revocation if there is a subsequent violation, a second violation. So I want to commend everyone for working on this, move the 2 amendments that I have described, and move the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objection? Yes, recognize the senator from the, I'm not supposed,
37.
Well, no, but Middle Eastern Shore, there was another one. Mid-Shore, did we say?
The Mid-Shore.
Mid-Shore
yes,
is what the other one there, yes, right. Senator from the Mid-Shore.
Just a quick question for the floor leader.
Will the floor leader yield? Senator may proceed.
Yep. Don't worry.
Of course.
And I intend to support the bill, and I appreciate the compromise. That's a great step forward. I just wanted to clarify to make sure that those that have been convicted in the past, they would remain there. How are they treated? So if you were convicted in the past, would they be covered by the new rules, or would they be under the whatever occurred to them in the past? And if it's too particular of a question, I intend to support the bill.
It's a really good question, actually, and the chair, we're getting the answer on that right away.
Actually,
okay,
I got my answer back here, so thank you.
Okay, no, but it should be described publicly. So they do have the ability to apply for reinstatement. But again, if there's a second penalty, then they're done forever.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Excellent. All right. Any further discussion on the favorable report as amended? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 76 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 891, Senator M. Washington, Land Use and Real Property Accessory Dwelling Units, Requirements and Prohibitions, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the bill sponsors, floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 22, this body passed legislation to create a task force to study accessory dwelling units, which are small, self-contained, sort of secondary housing units, typically converted through maybe a garage or a basement conversion. We received valuable input from a number of stakeholders. It met over the interim, and the task force produced a final report in May of 24, and it identified that ADUs were indeed an important tool. SB 891, as amended, really built on these valuable findings to ensure that ADUs are an accessible tool. What this bill does is establishes, and again, it establishes a set of statewide policies to promote the development of accessory dwelling units. The bill requires local government to adopt some laws addressing accessory dwelling units. There's a lot of variability across the state with how to handle these. And again, I want to make it very clear, there's no interruption of local zoning. There's no prohibitions about protecting the quality and density of neighborhoods. This is, again, just a first step of setting policies that can make sure that if there are indeed these units, that they are safe and that they can be regulated and that they could possibly be built into the local zoning frameworks. As amended, this bill does conforms, as amended, it conforms the bill with the House cross-file. It narrows the bill's scope to apply only to properties with single-family detached homes. It clarifies and limits the definition of ADU, so there isn't a really expansive view. It's very, very narrow. It removes some of the mandates and prohibitions. And again, this was working closely with MML and MACO. The amendments that are being put forward on this bill, the MML and MACO have removed their opposition. And it also allows jurisdictions to place reasonable restrictions. The first bill didn't allow that. I mean, as drafted, the bill didn't allow that. But again, as a first step, we thought it good practice to allow there to be some restrictions on it. Additionally, the ADUs can, as we said, be used as with an existing infrastructure. So there was some talk about building ADUs and having those available as affordable housing units. There's no authorization of that here. There is also, what it does is it really tries to balance both sort of statewide needs for affordable housing as well as local needs to give them local flexibility. Colleagues, I ask for your adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
All right, Floor Leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 891 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 930, Senator Guile, Environment Managed Aquifer Recharge Pilot Program Establishment, favorable with two amendments.
Recognizing the chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have a number of water resource challenges impacting local water supplies in the Chesapeake Bay, and what Senate Bill 930 does, as amended, Senate Bill 930 is identical to its cross-file as passed by the House. The bill establishes the Managed Aquifer Recharge Pilot Program in the Maryland Department of the Environment to authorize, regulate, and evaluate the use of treated, reclaimed water as a source for groundwater augmentation through managed aquifer recharge permits. Mr. President, there are two committee amendments. The amendments generally conform the bill to the House Bill 1296 as passed by the House. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number two clarifies and enhances MDE's oversight of a permit issued under the pilot program. The amendments also limits participation in the pilot program to a single entity, Anne Arundel County, and adds a sunset provision terminating the bill on September 30, 2036. There was no testimony in opposition to the bill. The bill passed unanimously, and with that, Mr. President, I'd move adoption of the two committee amendments and the federal committee report.
All right, Floor Leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 930 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. We are in between calendar center. We just have some guests. I believe it is students from Argentina. Is that correct? Who are here with the State Department, here to see democracy in action. Welcome. Welcome. We are very, very pleased to have you all here and hope you enjoy your visit. Yes, excellent. Argentina is like at the top of my list to get to. It's such a beautiful place. So one day I will get there, one day. All right, let's go to report number 27. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 844, Delegate Otto, Somerset County, salaries of local officials increase, favorable.
All right, recognize the senator from the 38th as the floor leader.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. I'm presenting House Bill 844, which is identical to Senate Bill 717, which unanimously passed the Senate. And this is a local bill. It increases the salaries of certain public officials in Somerset County. And pursuant to constitutional requirements, the salary increases take effect at the beginning of the next term of office. There are no committee amendments, and I move for a favorable report on HB 844.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 844 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 893, Delegate Jacobs, Title Fish License, Oyster Authorizations, Administrative Penalties, favorable.
Back to the oysters. Recognize the Vice Chair of the committee.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. This is the cross-file, and it is identical to the Senate bill I just presented. There are no amendments. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 893 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1296, Delegate Pruski, Environment Managed Aquifer Recharge Pilot Program, Establishment, favorable.
All right, recognize the Chair of the committee.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1296 is identical to Senate Bill 930, passed by the committee and that we just passed on to third reader. Again, the bill establishes the Managed Aquifer Recharge Pilot Program in the Maryland Department of the Environment to authorize, regulate, and evaluate the use of treated reclaimed water as a source for groundwater augmentation through managed aquifer recharge permits. No committee amendments, Mr. President. Bill passed unanimously. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1296 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1466, Delegate Stewart, Land Use and Real Property, Accessory Dwelling Units, Requirements and Prohibitions, favorable.
Recognize the senator from Baltimore City and County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1466 is identical to Senate Bill 895 as passed by the committee. There are no committee amendments. I ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1466 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, let's go to budget and tax. We've got our first consent calendar. This is report number 14. Clerk will read the calendar.
Budget and Taxation Report number 14, Consent Calendar number 8.
Recognizing Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House bills on this consent calendar are identical to the cross files to bills that passed the Senate unanimously. Move approval.
All right, the senator has moved for the adoption of the favorable committee report for all bills on consent calendar number 8. Senators, take a quick look. It's a long calendar. Are there any bills, for one reason or another, that senators wish to pull out and deal with separately? Give it just a second. It appears not. Any discussion of the report? Any objections? If there are no objections, the favorable committee report is adopted and the bills will be ordered passed for third reading. Sticking with budget and tax here, this is report number 16. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 177, Senator Hester, Procurement, State Department of Education, Control Authority, Local Food Purchasing, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from Prince George's.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 177, as amended, requires the Maryland State Department of Education to work with the Maryland Department of Agriculture and the Department of General Services to establish a program to procure local food for local school systems when funding is available. The program must include a centralized platform for procurement of food by local school systems, and MSDE must report annually on the procurement of local food. The percentage price preference, BPW, is required to establish is increased from 5% up to 10% for providers of food from certified local farms bidding on school food contracts. BPW is also required to adopt regulations authorizing state schools and facilities to conduct an individual procurement that is limited to responses from certified local firms. There are 2 amendments. Amendment 1 makes technical changes to the title, and Amendment 2 requires MSDE, when funding is available, and in coordination with DGS, the Department of Agriculture, and any other relative unit of state government to establish a program to engage in the procurement of certain local food for local school systems and specifies preferences under the program. Move the bill as amended.
All right, the senator moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 177 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Clerk will read the next bill. Oh, excuse me, printed for 3rd reading. Back to Senate bills. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 653, Senator McCray, Procurement, Employee Stock Ownership Plan Preference, Pilot, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the bill sponsor is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could special order this bill till tomorrow for the purposes of an amendment.
All right, senators move to special order the bill. Any objections? Without objection, the motion carries. The bill and the amendment will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. All right, let's go to budget and tax report number 15. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 508, Delegate Kerr, State Procurement Preferences, Blind Industries and Services of Maryland, Packaging and Repackaging, favorable.
Recognize the senator from Prince George's.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 508 is a matching cross-file on Senate Bill 795 as passed in the Senate. The bill adds packaged and repackaged products to the list of janitorial products that a prime contractor on a maintenance contract with the state is required to purchase from Blind Industries and Services of Maryland. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the committee report.
All right, the floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 508 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 833, Carroll County Delegation, Carroll County Public Facilities Bond, favorable.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a local bill authorizes Carroll County Commissioners to issue up to $36.9 million in general obligation bonds for acquisition of buildings and such. Move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 833 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1028, Delegate Forbes, Board of Trustees for the State Retirement and Pension System, Investment Division, Compensation and Staffing Committee, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the Senator from Baltimore County is the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. House Bill 1028, as amended, is the matching cross-file to Senate Bill 810 that was passed unanimously by the Senate. It is a joint committee on pensions bill, and it just changes creating a compensation and staffing committee instead of the objective criteria committee of the Board of Trustees of the State Retirement and Pension System. The amendments conform the bill to Senate Bill 810. I move for the adoption of the committee report.
All right. The Senator moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1028 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Is that the last one on that one? All right, let's go to judicial proceedings. This is report number 12. Clerk will read the report.
Oh, wrong one.
Report 12, consent 9.
Judicial proceedings report number 32, consent calendar number 9.
Yes.
32. Sorry. This is it. Recognizing the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This consent calendar has bills that passed their Senate cross-files passed the Senate unanimously. I'd move for the adoption of the consent calendar.
All right. Chair moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report for House bills on consent calendar number 9, report number 32. Any bills that senators wish to separate out? Any bills that senators wish to separate? 2 pages, so a fair number of bills. If not, any discussion on the report? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted, and House bills on report 32, consent 9, are ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to report number 33. Clerk will read the report.
Judicial proceedings report number 33, consent calendar number 10.
Recognize the chair of the committee.
Thank you very much again, Mr. President. This consent calendar is complete with bills which their Senate cross-files passed the Senate unanimously. I'd move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, the chair moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report for House bills on consent calendar number 10 out of judicial proceedings. Any bills that senators wish to separate for one reason or another? Seeing none, any discussion of the report? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report for House bills on calendar 10 are adopted, and the bills are ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to report number 34.
Judicial proceedings report number 34, consent calendar number 11.
Recognize the chair of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Consent calendar number 11 is complete with bills that are cross-files, Senate cross-files, which were identical, passed unanimously from the Senate floor. I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, chair moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report for House bills on consent calendar number 11. Senators, please take a look. Are there any bills on this consent calendar that one would like to take up separately? If not, any discussion of the report? Any objections? Without objection, the House bills on consent calendar number 11 are ordered passed for third reading. Madam Secretary, could we please ring the bells? And Madam Clerk, could we please call the roll?
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 42 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. We have Senate third reading bills. This is calendar number 52. We'll get these over. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 333, Senator West, Criminal Procedure, Victims and Witnesses, Out-of-Court Statement of Child to Forensic Interviewer.
Senate Bill 333 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 333, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 392, Senator Waldstreicher, Bicycles, Play Vehicles, and Unicycles, Authorization and Requirements, Jay's Law. This bill is on third reading.
Senate Bill 392 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 392, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 485, Senator Muse, Prince George's County, Speed Monitoring Systems, Maryland, Route 210.
Senate Bill 485 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 36 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 485, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 912, Charles County Senators, Charles County Off-Highway Recreational Vehicles, Regulation and Enforcement.
Senate Bill 912 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 912, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 925, Senator Smith, Criminal Law, Controlled Dangerous Substances, and Firearms.
Senate Bill 925 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 35 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 925, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 941, Senator Sidnor, Transportation-Related Tolls, Installment Payment Plans.
Senate Bill 941 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 941, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 992, Senator West, Corporations and Associations, Revisions.
Senate Bill 992 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 992, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We have a report number 7 out of executive nominations. Clerk will read the report.
Report number 7, the Senate Executive Nominations Committee reports favorably on the attached appointments and recommends the Senate of Maryland advise and consent to these appointments. Clarence K. Lamb, Chair.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Calendar number 7 is a calendar that includes some of the gubernatorial appointments to a variety of boards and commissions. This is a list of nominees that we heard this past Monday evening. The names of the nominees can be found in your floor system under the Other Business tab. I request that we consider these nominees in regular session until under Rule 22A and move that we special order this report until the appropriate time tomorrow.
All right. The chair moves that we hear the names in open session and special order the consideration of the report until tomorrow. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Senators, please make sure to take a look at the names and move them. If there's any that would like to be separated or take it up separately, please make sure to let the chair know, and we'll let the Secretary's office know so we can pre-program it in the computer. All right, I think that's going to do it for the day. We're going to pause there. Let's do this. Let's go with Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance meets at 1 o'clock for bill hearings.
All right. Check with Education, Energy, and the Environment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Triple E will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings, followed by a voting session.
All right. Chair of Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bill hearings at 1 o'clock.
Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
All right, 1 p.m. Senator from District 2.
Yeah, I wanted to change my vote on Senate Bill 925 from no to yes.
925, Senator, do we have a vote change form? All right, we'll have the pages run that over from no to yes on 925. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Yes, Senator from the Midshore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I need a red slip also for Senate Bill 392 from green to red. Senate Bill 392 from green to red.
392 from green to red. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. All right, other announcements? Other announcements? Yes, recognize the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. So I think it was last year, maybe the year before, I had forgotten the senator from District 7's birthday, and he's not here for me to wish him a happy birthday. I know he's not feeling well, but at any event, we wish him a very happy birthday. We'll take care of that tomorrow. But it is also another individual's birthday, the chair of Budget and Tax. If you could all give him a round of applause and wish him a happy birthday.
Mr. President.
Yes, recognizing the birthday senator.
Thank you, sir. In honor of my birthday, I am requesting there be no amendments to the budget on Monday. That is my only dream and hope.
Wish granted. Wish granted. Senators, this is a little bit non-traditional. If we may, we're going to do a favor here. I was moving a little too quickly. If we could actually just take up one quick thing, we're going to take up Senate third reading calendar number 9, and we're going to special order all bills except for House Bill 445. All right. So if the clerk could read the bill.
House Bill 445, Delegate Hill, Criminal Law Interference with the Public Safety Answering Point, Penalties. This bill is on third reading.
All right, House Bill 445 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 445, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Thank you for that indulgence. We had the song written. I promised that we would make sure to take it up today. So, all right. Let's see. Any other announcements before we? Yes, a senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Montgomery County colleagues, immediately following session, will be at the Verta Welcome Room for just a couple of bills.
Excellent. All right. Senator from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Anne Arundel County delegation will meet in the Silver Room. Hopefully it'll be quick, right after the floor.
Excellent. Any other delegations? Caucuses? Announcements? All right, let's do a quorum call. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator from the 38th.
Would this be the appropriate time to do a brief women's history?
Oh, yes, Thursday. Yes, Senator may proceed. Apologies, my fault. Yes,
Thank
please.
you. I would like to take this time to recognize 3 distinguished women from Maryland's Eastern Shore, one from each of the 3 counties that I represent in the Maryland State Senate. Each of them served our state and country with honor and distinction. The first is Anna Ella Carroll from Somerset County. She was a 19th century anti-slavery advocate and advisor to President Abraham Lincoln, born and raised in Somerset County near Pocomoke. She was the daughter of Thomas King Carroll, a Somerset County tobacco planter and 21st governor of Maryland. She was considered the invisible member of President Lincoln's cabinet, holding the official title of pamphleteer and advisor to the president from 1861 to 1865. She freed her family's slaves after the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. During the Civil War, Carroll was responsible for being sent to the Western Front by President Lincoln to spy on the Confederacy and help the Union military devise battle plans that proved critical to the Union's victory. After the war, Carroll went on to become an anonymous columnist, using her platform to champion key causes such as Reconstruction, civil and political rights, and women's suffrage. The second woman we're honoring from the Eastern Shore today is Mary Layfield Knock. She has the honor of being the first woman from Wicomico County to ever be elected to the Maryland General Assembly. She was first elected to the Maryland House of Delegates in 1946, where she served until 1955, and then she was elected to the Senate. Senator Knock was a strong supporter of public and higher education. Her legislation laid the foundation of what would become Warwick Community College, and she was a champion for women's rights, including also she sponsored the Juries Act, which allowed women to serve on juries in the state of Maryland. As a Maryland state senator from 1955 until 1974, Senator Knock became the first woman president pro tem of the Maryland Senate. Our third woman from the shore we are honoring today is from my home county of Worcester, and that is Fannie Mae Burkhead from Snow Hill, where she lived all her life. She was my constituent, and many of you know her daughter, Maryland National Guard Brigadier General Janine Burkhead, Maryland's 31 Adjutant General. I personally knew and always admired Mrs. Burkhead, so this is a real honor to recognize her today during Women's History Month. Fannie Mae Burkhead was the first African American both to be elected to countywide office in Worcester County and to drive the Ocean City Boardwalk train. She truly led a remarkable life with a heart of service and led by example with integrity and compassion. She had a special gift for inspiring young people, and she always involved her family in public service. For more than 20 years, Mrs. Burkhead and her family cleaned a 2-mile stretch of road just outside of Snow Hill as part of the Maryland Adopt a Highway program, a tradition that continues today, with many of us in the community joining the Burkhead family for this annual event. And it was always a real treat to see Mrs. Burkhead in action, with 3 generations of Burkheads ringing the Salvation Army bells at Christmas time, with Matriarch Burkhead leading the charge in raising needed funds for these community youth programs. Her legacy lives on in Worcester County and throughout the state of Maryland. Mr. President, all 3 of these distinguished women leaders from Maryland's Eastern Shore, Anna Ella Carroll, Mary Layfield Knock, and Fannie Mae Burkhead, certainly have earned the respect and admiration of the people of Maryland, and it truly is my honor and our honor to recognize them during Women's History Month.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that reflection. Thank you, Senator. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Recognized Senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise to request that we journalize the wonderful remarks from the Senator from the Eastern Shore.
Without objection, most certainly we will journalize the reflection today. Thanks so much. All right, let's go to a quorum call.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session, recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Friday, March 27th at 11 a.m.
Without objection, so ordered. Let's go O's.